take that moment to gently allow the body to settle the way it is as it is, because otherwise the topic here is not just a topic. It's when freedom becomes an escape, because everyone wants freedom and everyone wants that liberation. Everyone wants that enlightenment. But what if that you're seeking it from a space of escape? So this is so important for us to come into this understanding why we keep choosing what we already knows that does not work. It has not worked for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. But yet we keep on going into that space because the modern life is continually offering these alternatives, the holiday, the retreat, the partner, the different job, but it's not same as freedom. But then why are we unconsciously exercise and take that Nurofen or the Panadol just to the numb the space of the ache? So saying that, I want you to go into this deep inquiry today, because it is going into the space of the depth, but not as a search, not as a seek, not as an alternative, but just taking a moment to realize it. And it only needs that realization. It doesn't have to go into a pattern or to a space of forcing itself. So saying that, I will move the camera towards Darren. Take a deep breath in and elongate the spine. Good to see you, Daz. Um, so get that elongation in the space of the spine, but not as a force. The nervous system and brain do not approach every moment as completely new. It works with the previous experience, how to shape the prediction, the attention, the valuation, the reaction. So be very, very careful of this familiarity can therefore carry enormous weight, even when what is familiar is uncomfortable for some of you. Psychologically, continuity can feel safer than unknown freedom. I have stressed on this matter so much, but I'm going to do it again. So take a deep breath in, and it's not about shoulders rolling. It's about where you are realizing the right shoulder very gently in the space of rolling. It's not about the beginning and ending or doing it perfectly. And I want you to get that same place that you're going to roll the right shoulder with the breath into the right elbow. Not that it's rolling, but you're taking the space of it to understand the space. And very gently now you can feel that same space of the energy flowing into the fingers and the wrist. Now take a deep breath in and we'll work on the left shoulder very gently. And bring that awareness into the elbow. Bring that awareness onto the breath, how the nostrils are opening. So we are coming into that space of the movement before the choice. We're not asking you to become a better person, make perfect decisions, because some of you said, I didn't make that decision. We're not asking you to fight an old habit. Now very gently stretch the neck to the right side. Somewhere much more immediate, can we become conscious of the moment in which repetition is preparing itself? Back to the center, stretch your neck onto the left. Now back into the center. Keep the tongue roll not roll, just stucking into the upper palate, but then without opening the mouth, can you soften the lips? Can you soften the space of the jaw? Most of us recognize the pattern after it has happened. We have already spoken, eaten, withdrawn, reaching for the phone, return to the familiar relationship. Then we defend ourselves for the patterns that we are recreating. Now take a deep breath in, shrug the shoulders up, tilt the head back, massage the back of the skull, open the mouth wider, close, and chin to the chest and collapse the spine. Now this is very important. We want to please someone. We want to spend the money when money, we want to exercise, we have enough. When we don't have enough, we spend it more. So we want to feel it is restricting. We want to have the argument, or we want to enter that all emotional atmosphere because it feels like a lie. Now, this is the space I want you to come into the understanding. Now, take a deep breath in, tongue roll up onto the upper palate, energy gaze onto the third eye, shoulders roll back, and give that stretch. Breathe out, collapse the spine. Now, very gently pull the anus, pull the navel, pull the throat, but not locking. Now, when the consciousness arrives and says to you, why did I do that again? But today on the living laboratory is earlier than that. Back into the center. Take a deep breath in and twist the spine to the right. Before the visible action, there is often a tiny bodily event. The eyes narrow, or the search, the tongue presses, the jaw prepares, the finger becomes restless, the toes grip, the breath becomes shallow, the belly braces, skin becomes alert. Now I want you to become aware of these things. Back into the center, change the leg formation. Twist the spine to the left side. Back into the center. Now observe that when the thought is there, even to your psychological, constantly answering your own psyche, be aware of it. The body leans towards it. You can't speak slowly anymore. You have to shout out to the person next to you. The mind may not yet have a sentence, but the organism has already begun arranging itself around what it predicts will happen next. But actually, you are predicting to go it on that way, back into the center. Now, the next part of the thing is, I want you to observe this body that you are on the sukhasana or whatever the posture you have taken. Let the sensation comes with the breath. Observe the prediction of the old pattern comes. Then see the familiarity. Then see the impulse. Then when impulse happens, the story comes. Then becomes choices. But going back into the familiar and using the freedom to become an escape. Now becomes the action. Now becomes the consequence. I don't want you to learn this as a theory. I want you to be invited to locate in its real time. I'm asking you to remember very ordinary repetition from the last few days coming up for you. Not so much about your greatest trauma, not about how someone treated you, simply something familiar. Then I want you to take this next couple of breaths, move away from the story and towards a few seconds before that action happens, whether it's a sensation, prediction, familiarity, an impulse, a story, choice, action, and the consequences. Now, if something is not coming up for you, don't force it to come up. Now take a deep breath in. I want you to very gently, arms raise onto the crown, interlacing the fingers, palms facing up. And very gently drop the shoulders while the palms and the elbows are stretching. Breath out, spread the wings wider into the Garudasana, right arm on the top. Just a touch, subtle touch to the third eye. Spread the wings wider, Garudasana, left on the toes. Now I want you, do not tell me yet what happened. Notice what your body did first. Even me saying that to you, you will feel the internal organs, you will feel the things are now wanted to release. Before the sentence appeared, what was there? Pressure somewhere? Most of the person that is predicting verbalization, it can become as a space of a birth or a release. If it doesn't happen, just stay there. Now relax and let go, and left leg into the back, right hip on the pigeon pose. Now you're still in the space of working with me on this space of the laboratory of consciousness. Did the eyes move? Did the jaw prepare? Did the hands become ready? Shoulders roll back, drop the elbows, poke those palms, release the tension. But that this release cannot come on a physical level, because before this is a frequency, nervous system works on an energy frequency. So can you find the beginning without explaining the end? For yourself, not to me. Now, while your leg is stretched back, your arms are reaching forward. The purpose is not to catch yourself doing something wrong. It is to discover that what we call decision may have roots in sensations. Are we agreeing here? Prediction and familiarity, long before the consciousness explanation appears, it's there. Once this becomes visible, the whole movement is no longer completely hidden, because you're bringing it into the space of the light. Until you see the light of it, you will only grow from those roots the same plant. Today, you're not studying the mistake, you are studying the birth of repetition. Please come into this understanding. These are very deep level of consciousness that we are working with. Now take a deep breath in and coming back. Shoulders relaxed, chest open, lift up the space of the heart into a gentle plank. Now remember, the posture should come into slow enough to see so that it can be embodiment. Now left knee onto the floor, right arm reaching into the front. Be very gentle, right arm reaching into the back, touch the floor. Breathing in, left arm reaching up to the ceiling, into the back, and touch the floor. Drop the knee and rotate the hips wider. Now the embodiment, so it's slow enough to see. Wider rotation to the other side. Awareness becomes useful when the body is given enough time to reveal what it is doing. Can you see, even you're moving the hips, what are you doing? So now the culprit here is speed protects repetition. And you go, I'm sorry, because it protects, but you're told to be in the speed by all these social levels. Get there before the others. Achieve that. What a rotation to the other side. Sorry for giving information, but these are information to take you in the space of the journey. Push the hips into the front and stretch the spine into the back. And these are very, very personal healing sessions that we run here, which you normally don't have that access to come in, but I'm taking it and giving it to you so that you can work with your own self. Now, once you stretch the spine into the back, we are changing the speed just enough to make previously invisible movement of those perceptible. So let the posture be comfortable. Do not immediately close the eyes. Let the gaze remain soft and ordinary. Notice how you habitually do this posture. Nothing is being demanded in this posture. Is the weight already escaping into one knee? Are the feet feel locked? Is the chin is projecting? Is any part of the body preparing to leave this posture, even it is the most comfortable posture? When I'm saying moving, not to escape it, but to want to go forward, why isn't he doing the Bhujangasana now? Why am repetitively want the movement? That was my practice. All right. Now crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Drop the belly and soften the hips. So there is an instruction, but it's an instruction is an inquiry for you. Breathing in into a gentle cobra. Elbows can be on the floor. Now, I want you to observe on the movement sequence, the slow weight transfer. Move from the right side to the left side, whether it's the hip or the knee or the foot. That the exact instant of leaving one side can be felt. Investigate on that transition. I always say to people from the beginning, this is about 20 years ago, transition from the posture to posture, observe these things. Can we go into the heel and the toe awareness without lifting the feet? Shift the pressure towards anywhere you want to notice. Anticipation. Now, can you stretch the body without raising the arm? If you wanted to come into an up phase, the ribs without forcing, I want your exhalation finish before returning into the up phase from here. Breathe out towards the down phase. Now, hands and the fingers, I'm going to come into this understanding. because all your stories are trapped in the body. So open the fingers slowly and stretch through the palms. Then soften. Notice whether effort remains after it is no longer needed. Now take a deep breath in and bring the left foot into the pigeon pose. Shoulders roll back. Now slow shoulder rotation. Circle one shoulder at a time. Make the movement smaller until the beginning becomes more interesting than the completion. You will have a great shift with this class because I have done this healing for a few people and there is a massive shift in them. Now very gently drop the arms and move those palms. Now on the laboratory of consciousness, the breath laboratory, do not force the breath. First, discover the existing breath. Where does inhalation begins for you? Does exhalation actually finish? Or does the next inhalation arrives before the body has emptied naturally? So my invitation is slightly longer, unforced exhalation. Not counting is necessary today. Allow the exhalation enough time to complete itself. Feel the moment when breathing stops being something you are doing and becoming something you are receiving. I want you to stop doing the posture, stop doing the breath. And I want you to become something you are receiving. Do not manufacture calm. Become interested in speed. What changes when the body is no longer being hurried by the next moment? Disease slowing is not the solution. It is a microscope. You slow the movement, the breath, and the reaction. So consciousness can see the missionary that you call you that normally disappear inside the speed. Yeah. Please put some flags on the areas that you need to rediscover. Breathing in and gently coming back. Shoulders relax, just open without force. Into a plank. Stronger on the pelvic floor, but that strength is not force. Right knee onto the floor. Left arm reaching up to the ceiling. Clench and unclench. Left reaching into the back and touch the floor. Right arm reaching to the front. Remember shoulder rotating very gently into the back, touch the floor. Drop the knee, completely breathe out to the cat. Breathing in into the cow. Breath out to the cat. Breathing in into the cow. Neutral spine. Rotate the hips on circular motion. Wider rotation to the other side. Push the hips into the front. Push the hips into the back. Now, why? Because I don't see you personally here. I have worked with the people who create the same story and tell the same story. So we are going on to the next level. Why this observation is important? Because vocabulary creates a corridor. The pattern does not live only in muscle and breath. So let's say you have a pattern that you have come across and you understand it is living in the muscle and the breath. Not only that, what it does is it recruits the language, a sensation appears, and the vocabulary quickly turn it into a word. Always that vocabulary will come, or never, again, I can't, I need, they made me do this. This is just who I am. I know how this is going to end. Now, quite a lot working with people. These things have come a lot. So the vocabulary creates a corridor. Word, always, never, again, I can't, I need, they made me. This is just who I am. I know how this is going to end. Because the language can convert a passing sensation into an identity and a prediction into an apparent fact. Are we all with this space of understand? There's nothing to take it personally. Remember, if you are taking this personally, you are still in the corridor. I want you to listen to the architecture of your own sentences. Not whether the sentence is positive, nothing to do with it. Because this is the reaction I get it from the client, but it is positive. It is protective. I'm not worried about positive or negative, but whether it closes possibility. Certain words create a narrow corridor through which the future is expected to travel. Please revisit these classes if you have missed out on the vocabulary, but vocabulary is a corridor. It's not what I'm interested in. Palms facing down, crawling and bringing the chest into the front. Breathing in into a gentle cobra. Please come into a comfortable cobra because I'm going to allow you to see something further now. Now, instead of I always do this, so because now the polarity of the mind goes, oh, when they see the pattern, they say, so I always do this. I want you to observe. This moment is here and now. Just observe it. Instead of I need to get out of this feeling, and they find out, they say to me, I want to get out of this Channa. I say to them, observe. There is an urge to move away, but observe. instead of this person makes me become like this, I say to them, observe. Something in me is preparing a familiar response. I had it from my childhood. Instead of, I have to make the right decision. They say it to me, Channa, I want to make the right decision. I say, observe. Can the decision wait long enough for the pressure to become visible? So please, this is not word policing. It is a shift from the identity language to observational language. I don't know whether there is a word like that, but I have to tell you how I feel about these healings. So this is a shift from identity language to observational language. We are loosening the automatic marriage between the sensation and the story. Because this is a couple will live forever, but they are not good for each other. The marriage between the sensation and the story. A lot of people are married to not to the partner that they are living with, but they are most time they are married to the sensation and the story. They give a lot of love and hate to that. Now relax the third eye onto the floor. Let the mouth soften. Move the jaw because your jaw is slightly lifted up because your forehead is on the hands, side to side. Let the tongue rest away from the roof of the mouth. Slowly turn the head right. Slowly turn the head to the left. This is not about searching into a maximum range. This healing is very subtle. That's why we do a lot of healing here. But it is very, very slow. A lot of people come and they are not satisfied because they can't slow, because they want the speed to numb things. Now back to the center. Now bring the palms where the elbows are, breathing into up face. Breathing out towards the down face. Now drop the knees and stretch the spine. Stretch the fingers wide and release. Now move into the child. This child pose asks you nothing. Now the crown of the head onto the floor, closer to the knees. Interlace the fingers in the back. Interlace the hands behind the back, only as far as comfortable. And stretch up to the ceiling and roll onto the crown of the head. Now relax and wake up the spine. Now allow the upper chest to broaden without forcing it upwards. Release and notice what remains. Now, before you say the familiar sentence, can you feel the body preparing to say it? Where does the word must, the word must live in your body? Because most of the time people who come for healing has this must. Where does that live in your body? Where does always tighten you? Most of the time it's on the throat. Can the sensation exist for 3 breaths without becoming a biography? Even not like a biography like Yogananda. Just before you make that sentence, breathe 3 times without your biography. The story does not have to be destroyed. That is not what I am saying, because someone challenged me that I am nothing without the story. We discover that the story is an event occurring in consciousness, not necessarily an instruction that must be followed. So why are you following it? There is so much life in this planet. You're crying and collecting the same parts of your suffering and accumulate that to keep your story going on. Do you think today is the day to release it? Now come for a comfortable position, whether it's sitting or lying down. Now find somewhere that you can see your old routine, to see the ritual and the return of the old self. So this posture is taking for you to see the routine, ritual, and the return of the old self. Routine is not the enemy. Rituals can nourish a life. But the inquiry here is subtler. When does a supportive rhyme becomes an unconscious refuge from the direct contact with what is happening? We can repeat yoga, we can repeat meditation, we can repeat prayers, food, rituals, work routines, relationship rituals, and even healing practices, while remaining psychologically untouched. So ask yourself today, the ritual becomes another place where the known self knows exactly how to behave. You go to the temple, you wear white, you go to the kovil, you have a bath, you go to the church, you become a better version to sit on that bench. Is this a place where the known self knows exactly how to behave? Now, in this sitting, I will ask you to introduce small interruptions that are safe and ordinary. Take a posture and fold the arms in the opposite way. Interlace the fingers with unfamiliar thumb on top, or whatever it is for you, that you would not normally choose. Sit in a different space. Begin a familiar stretch from the other side. I want you to take a walk after this class, but not the usual walk. These are not brain training tricks. They expose how quickly the organism search for the known. Now, if you have a block, if you have a pillow, whatever it is, I want you to slowly reach towards that ordinary object. Stop before touching it. Feel what happens when the intention is present, but completion is delayed. I do this with addiction to substance, sugars, food. You don't have to do it, but if you want to, then either touch it all over the hand, just interrupt that reach for a while. When you want to next time touch the phone, now with doing anything with this, observe whether the preference appears before movement. Now very gently do a gentle fold into the front with whatever the position you have taken. Soften the knees and fold only to a comfortable place. Now, instead of reaching for depth, notice the instant ambition enters to stay in that familiar place. Stay on that step before that. Let the neck and hands soften and then rise back again slowly. Now, a lot of people ask me, how do I know that my old routine is taking over me? Keep your eyes closed. Look for acceleration. Look how it wants to go into the same certainty. Look how it rehearses vocabulary. When you go to the known constantly, what happens? There's a loss of sensation. There is more of compulsive, completion, bargaining, justification, and the strange feeling that there is only one possible next move. The clearest sign may be that curiosity disappears. You're not curious about things anymore. The moment we already know what this moment means, the past has may quietly taken the command. Even it didn't allow you to enjoy that. Because you're saying now, this person is like that person. Now, in the meditation, I will ask you, can you recognize the moment, the curiosity disappears just now. You're not interested in now. Are you waiting for my next command or to the next stretch? What happens when you do not complete the ritual exactly as expected? Is discomfort asking for action or simply asking to be felt? Can the familiar remain available without becoming compulsory? Arms raised onto the ground, palms onto the namaskar position. I want you to take 3 breaths. Everyone is interested today on the Lion's Gate, 8-8. So let's become more conscious than the Lion Gate. Breaking out does not necessarily mean doing the opposite, because people go to the opposite. The opposite can still be controlled by the old pattern. Leaving to another house, getting another job, getting another partner, getting another health opinion. Freedom is the restoration of possibility. So today class was not just another healing project. It just brought us to those subtle traps in turning this into another instruction to repair ourselves, the story. The person may immediately begin try to eliminate all patterns, but become more conscious, choose correctly, or achieve superior state. But understand, then the same mechanism simply acquires spiritual language. The work here is witnessing rather than self-correction. Can the movement be seen without immediately obeying it? Suppressing it or explaining it? Bring them into the inquiry. Can familiarity be felt in the body before it becomes a story? Can the desire for security reveal itself without being called weakness? This is where the consciousness becomes practical rather than philosophical. Now, very gently, take another couple of breaths. Arms raised onto the ground. Arms onto the namaskar position, whether it's a crown, whether it's a throat, whether it's a heart, which is very much into you. There may be a fraction of space between the impulse and continuation. Not a forced pause, not a technique, simply recognition. This is the familiar asking to become the future again. Something new becomes possible today because the old movement is no longer completely invisible, but you're not forcing it. When nothing is forcing me to choose the familiar, what is inside me is still choosing it. I'm going to leave you here with the brutal inquiry. This is a question should not be answered verbally. It is a value is in carrying it into a lived experience, conversation, attraction, irritation, loneliness, purchasing, eating, scrolling, spiritual seeking, spiritual portraying, conflict, withdrawal, ambition, and the countless small moments in which life is selected before we recognize that a selection has occurred. Where the class can eventually go today is class can move from the body into the nervous system, from the nervous system into the prediction and the psychological security, from that security wave into the identity, and finally into the witnessing itself. So the aim is not today to produce a person who always makes the right choice. It is to discover whether the choice can arise without being unconsciously dictated by yourself. For you, the deepest possibility is not unlimited choices. It is freedom from the unseen necessity to repeat ourselves. In that way, you're breaking the story and waking up beyond the space of the story. Breathing in arms raise onto the ground, palms onto the namaskar position. Namaste.